Hey everybody, we are going to make some fun vintage looking tapes. I've had a bunch of people that have noticed them on my previous journals and they wanted to know how to make these. So we're going to do that right now. So these tapes here, I made these. It's very, very easy and you'll be surprised when you see how easy it is. At first what I did with these is I placed tape, and you want to use transparent tape or Scotch tape, but you want to get the stuff that's actually see-through, the transparent stuff. And what I do with this, I put just different layers all over my craft mat. I find craft mat is the easiest. You just put a whole bunch of different layers. They can be whatever lengths you want. They don't have to be all short, they don't have to be super long, because I wind up cutting them anyway. You don't have to cut them, you can have them the exact length you want, but you'll find depending on what your project is, your lengths will want to change. So we'll do a few more, because these are easy enough to make. Your biggest thing is you just want to let them dry. These look so nice in a journal. In really any kind of crafts that you make, you can add a little bit of vintage flair to them. Okay, we'll add one more after this. And then I'll show you the next thing we do. So there we go. Put a few kinks in them. I didn't want them to be completely perfect. So our next step that we're going to do, and you will be shocked if you haven't done this before, is we use alcohol ink. The one I usually use is Tim Holtz's by Ranger. It's the caramel. I have used the ginger, and I will show you the difference between the both. So the first thing we're going to do, you also, sometimes I use this, sometimes I don't, but make sure you have the alcohol ink, the little mat, the felt mat, instead of the regular one you would have used for your actual inks. You want to make sure it's the alcohol ink one. Okay, so I'm going to start with, actually I'll start with the ginger. So with the ginger, you want to have a good ventilated area when you're using alcohol ink. Make sure there's no flames or anything because it's alcohol. I'm going to just give it a little drop, and I'm going to do this on a few because I'm going to show you the difference between these. Okay, now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this sponger on the end of our alcohol ink and just blend it that way. And it's okay if you go over the edge on your craft mat, because I do this all the time. So, and it comes off, as you can see, because I've done this before. So this is what I do with this. If you want, and I've done this myself this way before, I just use the whole blend by sliding it through with the alcohol ink, but then you're using a lot of alcohol ink. But you'll see it's no different than when you use alcohol ink in your other projects. You can see where you dropped it. So I usually spread it a little bit. And then you can always go back if you want and put a little bit extra wherever, but you want to remember alcohol ink usually leaves marks. So see, that's what it does. And usually tape will not dry like that. If you look at tape, you know, that you've seen over the years on old letters or cards or whatever. So I'm going to leave that like that and let that dry. So this one is the ginger. You'll see it's a little bit darker. Oops. I'll just edit that out. All right. All right, so our next one we're going to use is the caramel, or caramel, depending on how you want to say it. You will notice this one is lighter, and this is the one I tend to normally use. Can't tell yet, but wait till we're done. And you'll see it's definitely got more of a caramelized look to it. And on these ones I did, these were all with caramel. Okay, so there's those. These ones too, you will notice that I did have like a couple dots and stuff like that, and I let them go like that. One thing also I did, and I think it helped a little bit, I don't push my tape completely down on my craft mat. I leave a little bit of air, so it gets air underneath that helps it breathe, I think, and lets it dry nicely. So we're gonna do that. And since this is the color I normally use, I'm going to do the rest of these with the caramel color. I use a little bit more on these ones just so you can see what the difference will be. And on these ones, I'm not even going to use our little brush. I'm just going to add some more. Just so you can see differences on these. There we go. All right, so we're going to let that dry, and it usually takes a little bit of time. And then I will show you what I do after that. So these are your tapes. So easy to use. Just pull them off, add a little glue, and away you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have an awesome day.